I want to go back to former White House attorney in the Trump administration, Ty Cobb. We have reestablished communication. Thank you for hanging out and getting this together for us. I want to ask you, we'll go back to what we were discussing, but since we just heard from Nnamdi, my colleagues Carol Leonnig and Ken Dilanian are reporting at least 4 leaders of the criminal section of the Civil Rights Division have resigned in protest over the administration's handling of the Minnesota fatal shooting. And I wonder what that signals to you about the direction of DOJ right now.
I think it's very sad. I think both Carol and Ken are two of the better reporters that I have ever worked with, and very professional. I'm sure this is accurate, but it's tragic, and good on them for resigning. This is an instance where a shooting by a federal officer of somebody under the circumstances that we've seen, which clearly are unjustifiable, would ordinarily immediately have been taken up by the criminal division or the criminal lawyers in the Civil Rights Division. The fact that Harmeet Dillon and Pam Bondi refused to do so is a clear indication of the authoritarianism that is now permeated the Justice Department, where they really are there to protect their own. It's not justice for all; it's justice for anybody who's an enemy of the Trump administration or injustice, as the case is with both the Minnesota shooting, Jerome Powell, Comey, Letitia James, and others. I think we have seen a wholesale deterioration in the rule of law overseen by Bondi, and certainly Harmeet Dillon has been a willing accomplice in that at the Civil Rights Division.
So let me ask you, because you mentioned Pam Bondi, about that Wall Street Journal reporting that Trump has complained to aides repeatedly in recent weeks about her, describing her as weak and ineffective. You know what it's like to be inside the Trump administration and how the president can exert pressure. In spite of what he says publicly, is this just the beginning of a pressure campaign that's going to lead to her being gone? What do you see happening here?
It's very hard to say. There have been voices in the administration, Dan Bongino, most recently the most vociferous, who have undermined Pam Bondi. She certainly hasn't done anything that distinguished her or, established any credibility or integrity. But she has done almost everything that the president has asked in terms of unprecedented corrupt prosecutions, appointing people as U.S. attorneys merely because they're attractive and Trump likes them, and despite their lack of qualifications, and doing so illegally. The courts have thwarted her, but Trump put her in a bad position in the Epstein files because the initial message was to release them all, and when she tried to go along with that, but ultimately concluded that there was some embarrassing stuff there, and they put the brakes on. Trump is trying to blame her for his own failures, and that's very typical. I mean, there is no accountability in the president's narcissistic, demented world for himself. It's only for anytime something goes wrong, he's got somebody to blame, and it's never himself.
So why do people do it? Is it the proximity to power? We've seen time and again this whole list of people who the president has criticized and now are under scrutiny by the DOJ. We've seen the long list of people who he has publicly denounced, who have lost their jobs, who have been marginalized when key decisions are made. What's it like to be on the inside of that? And I take it from everything that you said, it's markedly different now than it was when you were even in the White House.
Yeah, so that's definitely true. He's very much unleashed, and there really are no guardrails there. Certainly when I was there, you had people like General Kelly, General Mattis, Nikki Haley, other people who could say no and say no effectively, and you don't have that in this administration. On the other hand, you have people like Marco Rubio, who appears to have sold his soul, but is enjoying the benefits of being able to manipulate the president into foreign policy issues, a la Cuba, Venezuela, and others, notwithstanding, how severely he has navigated away from the positions he took in the 2016 campaign, calling out Trump for his selfishness and his lack of character. So I think with Bondi and Pulte and Ed Martin and people like that are there just merely to please him and to enjoy the benefits of power, it's a bad ride because karma is a bitch, as they say.
Ty Cobb, it's good to see you once again. Thank you so much for being on the show.